Ghost of Caliban. The Saga of Luther, Legendary Lord, a Dark Angel story. By J.M.R. Durham.
Chapter 5. Inquiry of a Revenant. The Reflected Tome. The sedation was slowly wearing off, my head throbbing with a dull whine disrupting my hearing. The lids of my eyes heavy from fatigue, I blinked once and then twice. Circular overhead lights illuminate the room, dim and lackluster, but enough to awaken my optic nerves. Seated, constrained by straps across my forehead, chest, wrists, and ankles, I am clothed in a tan robe with a ridged texture, the material brushing irritatingly against my skin. My muscles and joints ache, and my vision, still fuzzy, is adjusting as consciousness takes hold. With my vision restored, I can make out my surroundings. I'm memorizing the details and layout of the room when I notice a figure standing in the far corner, partly hidden among the shifting shadows. I continue staring, not averting my eyes, since my host's presence has been revealed. As the figure steps forward, it reveals an armored boot, shin, knee, and thigh, till the fully armored figure is exposed. Overhead lighting reflects off clad powder blue armor. He says nothing, though he has noticed that I'm conscious. Under his hooded tunic, a dim blue glow pulses in time with a dull hum emanating from beneath. Where his eyes should have been, there weren't any cornea, iris, and pupil, seemingly having been replaced with crackling pure white energy like captured lightning held in two orbs. I blink in confusion as the power continues to flare. Inquiring, I ask, "What are you? Where are we? Why am I restrained? This room is different than the others." The hooded figure moves toward the center of the room where I'm seated, his heavy armored boots resounding off the stone floor. His movements are graceful and purposeful. The stranger's sandstone-colored cloak edges are trimmed in solid green, with distinct calligraphy stitched in red, parallel alongside the green trim. The fabric drifts with his every step when I further note, colored solid green, an image of a stenciled winged sword centered at the lower median of his shroud. He answered in a strong voice, "I am a psyker. It seems that you've been through quite the ordeal. I've been informed that you remember your name. Is that true? Do you know who you are? And what you are?" Luther's reply, "I believe I'm called Luther. Everything else is still a fog. Luther, is that right? Is that my name?" The chief librarian nodded and stated, "Yes. As for where we are, do you not recall these surroundings? The material of the walls and floor, or any of the liveries and colored icons that adorn my armor?" Luther dismally retorts, "No, I don't recall anything. It all looks foreign to me. I thought I was alone for a vast period, though not truly alone, as if I were being watched. Were you monitoring me?" The irritated chief librarian unenthusiastically answers, "I observed you when tasked with doing so. Luther, cease asking questions. You'll need your strength for what comes next. Keep your mind clear and steady. Close your eyes and focus." Hastily, Luther speaks out, "Wait! What comes next? Why am—" A force like a physical blow strikes my mind, likeness to been punched to the cerebral cortex. The psyker projects his commands in my mind. Physically, his lips are still. Silence your ceaseless questing and clear your thoughts. I am the chapter's chief librarian. My presence was requested to perform a psychological probe and judge whether you pose a threat. Now do as I've instructed, or I will use my mastery of the warp in achieving my intents forcibly. Still your mind, control your breathing, and shut your eyes. Know that if I sense any deception or feel you prying at my psyche, I will wipe your mind clean. You will be nothing more than an empty husk. Now, envision a light. Gripped by fear and not understanding the librarian's threats, I decide the power the armored figure had already exhibited is reason enough to cooperate. Telepathically, he instructs me further. Yes, that's it. Steady your heartbeat and control your breaths. Focus on creating an image of a light. My body grows calm as I focus on imagining a light. I'm not accustomed to these telepathic techniques, but a dim bulb appears before my mind's eye. Just as quickly, it is snuffed out and shadow shrouds my thoughts. In my head, I whisper, "Darkness, always reviled in its absent embrace." Once again, the chief librarian interjects, "This is what your life and soul have become, loathing for your past actions, even though when transgressions discerned are yet unknown to you. Fear not, Luther. Your mind is intertwined with my own. But understand that I am the one who has hold of your mortality. Now, traitor, we commence." I slightly cock my head to one side, confused by the label of traitor, but I nod in agreement to proceed. Elsewhere, we find the apothecary. Isolated within the sanctity of the keep, the master-class senior apothecary mumbles to himself as he makes his way to a hidden, little-frequented chamber. Only he, the Forge Master Tech Marine, and the chapter's master are privy to the knowledge of the chamber's slumbering occupant. The Dark Angels chapter was founded on various mutually kept secrets. Each member possesses a unique mystery. His destination lies behind a meter-thick blast-proof door. The chamber inside houses a monumental secret. Every 50 years, or when the senior Marine is privately summoned by the otherwise self-sufficient machines for his medical expertise or for maintenance and repair, he or the Tech Marine makes the trek to the Soul Chamber. Distinct of the apothecary's secret task is cataloging the demigod's biorhythms and replacing the canisters of preservative treatment, stimuli, and hydration packs. Those, along with medical monitoring, maintenance, and repair, all matters of highest priority to the senior master-class apothecary. Entombed within the chamber is the spirit and bloodline of the Dark Angels chapter. Unstirring for centuries in his cryogenic unit, the occupant still has not stirred nor uttered a single command. The apothecary and the few council members' devotion that the Emperor's light will one day awaken his son. Till that day, the Lion's sons will remain vigilant. Meanwhile, back in Interrogation Room 2, the librarian commences with Luther. Luther's description followed questing. Darkness fills my mind, with my inner voice echoing. Why are you doing this? What's the purpose of this test? The inquiry echoes and resounds as mirrors manifest on all sides. Each glass is a mental projection of my essence. In many, they're reflected impressions. Each mirror casts different imagery. I am settled in an old tattered chair of stony material. My gaze sweeps left, then right. Depicted in each mirror is a different projection of me. A plethora of disjointed doppelgangers exhibited were in one mirror. All my skin having been removed, exposing muscles, ligaments, tendons, vasculature system. Reaching up, I place trembling fingertips against my cheek. The action is mirrored, only difference is blood begins streaming from my doppelganger's eyes. In another mirror, a different impression is shown, where I am curled up like a ball, arms wrapped around my legs, rocking back and forth, sobbing in the dark. Another of my mirrored doubles, eyes filled with hate, stared deeply back at me as an image of a massive war, reflected within the glass, playing across the background. So much carnage, as thousands of warriors are repulsed, their blood soaking the dreadful mud. Such a cinematic of total destruction. I slowly stand and walk to the glass, morbidly intrigued by the image. I reach out and draw my fingertips across the mirror-polished surface. Seen next in another enchanting mirror, a solemn boy with long blonde hair manifest. His face is obscured, but I feel a bond with him. Then an unseen power grasps me, hauling me off my feet, and sets me forcefully back into the stone chair. The chief librarian speaks telepathically again. The mirror represents the various tiers of your psyche, Luther. I am present here as well, inside your mind, though you cannot see me. You seem not to recall who you once were, your beginnings and your end, before you were brought to be imprisoned. So many questions I might ask will be of no use to either of us. We'll keep it simple. What is the last image you remember before waking up in the cell? I telepathically answer, a light, a very bright light. Then agonizing pain coursing through my body, and for a moment, the stench of something burning. Then, nothing. I awoke in the dark void you call my cell. The librarian, with the use of the warp, clinches hold of my cognitive processes, impending the firing of neurons, nullifying ion transmission across synapses, blocking receptors, and dampening the release of neurotransmitters. Immediately, confusion engulfs my mind, dumbfounded and empty of thought. The librarian had slightly erased my mind. He resumed syncing his mind with my own, telepathically sowing questions into my thoughts. Then the librarian prepared his psyche, fortified by eons of training in the Dark Angel's libraries, as he achieved each level of the 11 telepathy virtues he now selectively utilizes. His skills, honed like a sharpened edge of a sword, he had refined and displayed across countless battlefields where the vanquished of warp spawns, tainted witchkin, and duels against chaos-worshipping sorcerers, even utilized when hunting for the elusive archenemy, the Fallen. His prestigious title, Chief Librarian Master of the Dark Angel's Librarius, where he decrees as Chancellor, Judge, and Executioner, bestowal of the unworthy as tidings to the black cursive vessels, those psychers who are unfit, uncontrollable, or weak-willed. The Chief Librarian readies himself to perform a mind scan of Luther's answers, monitoring for any slightest changes in cerebral processing. Once stimulated neurons fired as output, the product will be channeled across a plenitude of nerve fibers linked together throughout Luther's mind, as the ions continued through the electric circuit and are read and reviewed by synapses and then distributed to the appropriate receptors, resulting in answers and biological consequences detailed in the human genome. Judgment rendered indubitably of truth or lie, honesty or deception. Chemicals and ions say it all. The Chief Librarian continues, Luther, what have you seen and heard while confined in your cell? Look into the mirror before you and answer. Luther peers at his unaltered reflection in a mirror, when, within the glass, a book materializes. The librarian's tone is calm and knowledgeable, stating, The book you see holds the memories you have gathered. Many of its pages are blank as your psyche has been damaged, yet others may hold the answers I seek. You are looking at your memory. Open it and tell me, is something reaching out to you? The book opens unaided, and the pages blow across. One turns over, then another. Luther's answer is simply, no. The word resonates through my mind, loud like a lion's roar. No! When I believe, I hear the librarians scream in pain. What is this? What are you doing, Luther? Stop! The tome in the mirror now hovers horizontally, so I can only glimpse its thick underside. Pages keep turning, their corners flipped as if by a breeze, shuffling disorderly back and forth and giving the impression of an unseen scholar searching eagerly for an elusive paragraph, from the first page to the last sheets in the vague tome. But the restlessness soon comes to a halt at the center of the book. A calmness sets in, but lingers only a moment before a new disturbance comes over the book. Both left and right halves begin fluttering about, every sheet bending with violent ripples. Chaos having amassed within it, the book slams unexpectedly shut with a thunderclap. Within the quaking mirror, the tome draws forward and tilts upright, its cover now facing forward. A metallic strap slithers across the surface and latches the edges together with a lock that casts a radiance of soft blue and purple. Then the mirror cracks, starting with a hairline fracture and webbing out toward every corner of the frame. Seeming to ripple in its effect, the destruction spreads to another mirror, then another, working through all mirrors encircling me. The representations of my psyche begin shattering all around me. The chief librarian's thoughts are frantic as he tries to understand what exactly is happening. Already he has tried to wipe my mind with no results. Now he tries to exert control over my psyche, only to be met with a psychic backlash like a whip cracked against his mind, protected by his crystalline Liberius hood. With the sudden turns of events unfolding in both our psyches, maniacal foreign words echo in the chief librarian's thoughts. Let go! Let go! Finally, just before pulling his mind back, the librarian takes one more glance inside Luther's mind. The mental image the chief librarian sees is of me still seated, surrounded by thousands of glass shards. I am staring trance-like into a single mirror which, though broken at spots, remains intact in its tattered frame. The librarian takes shape as an aspect apparition, psychically projects himself behind me, and recognizes the image revealed in the surviving glass. A hint of a smile creeps about the corners of his lips. We both observe the sole surviving mirror among the shards of glass and fragmented gold framework. Stationary within the glass stands the silhouette of a hooded figure. Unnervingly, a skull mask is visible under its hood. The wraith of the chaplain stares crudely at us with fire-red lit machine eyes. The librarian retorts internally. Seems the chaplain has made quite an impression on you, Luther. I'll be sure to inform the Supreme High Chaplain when the opportunity arises. Certainly, the chaplain will be pleased to meet you face to face. The chaplain has refined his methods to an art form. He's a master artisan in revealing secrets the damned desire to keep hidden. You have every right to fear him. You'll come to understand.